Baker moves that the rules of the House be so far suspended so that House File number 1336 be recalled from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, be given its second and third readings, and be placed upon its final passage.
The member from Candido High, Representative Baker.
Madam Speaker and members, thank you very much for the time today. I wanted to speak to something that everybody knows that has ever worked with me, that I'm a hospitality guy, former restaurant owner, still a hotel owner, and I know and I am fighting like crazy for my colleagues in this industry that have been literally wiped out. And this is just really an urgent matter that I have poured my heart and soul into this thing when I first arrived here in January of this year, because we knew the pandemic was going to be facing us when we got here in January. We knew we had to balance a budget this year. We have a lot of work to do, and this is unfortunate, but we had to come here to deal with getting our legislative authority back in line so we can help our workers and our businesses to get open in a safe manner. And I have presented a bill to many members in this body. House File 1336 is what has been kind of known as the roadmap to recovery. Earlier today, I sent all the members that graphic that really tries to give it a picture of what this can look like to safely and with health metrics open our state up to a way that businesses are just begging for some kind of a signal that we can start having a conversation with our bridal couples, with folks getting ready for a retirement party, birthday parties, and I'm specifically today wanting to find this urgent matter after I visited a couple weeks ago with a local event center in my district, and this story struck me. And I thought, I am so sick and tired of us in our 8th week here now, and we've done nothing. And this opportunity, members, doesn't even take away the governor's powers. It gives off-ramps if there's a spike. It is so easy for you to accept this crazy good bill that I am forced to be here today to make sure that all of you know literally these event centers are close to death. So I stopped in, actually it was last week, and I stopped at a small event center, new hotel, 3 years open. They were doing 26 weddings the first 2 years. They gave all kinds of money back the last year, of course, and this year. The manager said, I just gave back a $3,500 deposit for a couple that had tried to schedule it twice before. They are scheduled to do a 3rd weekend in June of this year. And because the hotel doesn't know what to tell them, they have to start making plans now for hotel rooms, for airline tickets, for final details of food and beverage details. And as you all know, there's a lot of details that go into events and the planning of these enormously personal life events for families. So she gave the $3,500 back, and the family was actually honest with her. They said, look, we are so sorry to do this. We're taking our business down the road to an open field and a barn, and we're going to do it out in the field because our son and daughter, they actually want to get married and have children. They can't wait any longer. They want to do it kind of in that sequence, actually. Imagine that. They really care about this, and they can't wait any longer. And so not only is it devastating to that property to give back the deposit, but now this family will likely go down the road in a barn in an open field, maybe get a tent or two, probably have some porta potties, cater in some food. I don't know what their CDC guidelines are going to be. I don't know if they're going to be masking. I don't know. It's not my issue. But I hope that they do what most Minnesotans do, and they're safe about it. But in the meantime, this hotel is literally on the verge of collapse, especially in the event center, because they have nothing left to give back. And when I just heard this story, they're just going down the road at a barn. I flipped out, because this is not what we wanted here. This is not what Governor Walz wanted, because I will guarantee you that facility would have done it a lot safer than it will happen down the road in a barn. And so my concern is we have to start talking about this right now, because every week, members, that goes by for an event center, and we're at week number 8, a week in the event center is like a month when they start talking to bride and grooms. You cannot start setting up a bridal event or some kind of a big event on a moment and you say, we're going to be here next week. This is months of planning. And every week that goes by, we are missing out on good information and some level of certainty when we've got record low numbers happening in our health department right now. Our immunizations are well over 1 million shots in the arms. We're making good progress. Minnesotans have done everything you've asked of them. And yet our border states are just sucking the economy away from us because they can just go across the border and do things differently. And yet, this has been going on for a few months now, at least. You can have weddings across the borders, and yet our numbers are way low. So don't tell me they're going over there, super spreaders coming back, because it's not coming back. So we have got to start looking at the urgency, members, of event centers, restaurants, and all the other things that I have laid out in this map. If you look at the map, we've got 30-day, 45-day measures. We have talked to the Department of Health. We've talked to the governor's office about this plan. We've talked to the commissioner's office, Commissioner Grove, about this plan. I have been in front of Chair Pelowski's committee twice. I have talked to at least 20 members on the DFL side about tell me what's right or wrong with this bill, and I will do whatever you tell me to do. I've gotten some good feedback from a few members. I had a great conversation with Leader Winkler a week and a half ago. Nobody here thinks that this is a bad idea. The problem is I have the bill. The problem is Baker, a Republican, has the bill. And I've been working on this bill since January 10th when I got down here, knowing, when I talked to a few other of my colleagues that I trust from the Democratic side, they said, Dave, we really don't have a plan. We don't even think of a plan. Governor Walz has this for us. And members, I will tell you, the problem with that is that Governor Walz is not in your district like we are. Governor Walz is not hearing the stories that you should be hearing. And if you're not hearing it, then you're not doing your job, members. I certainly hope you're out talking to your event centers like I am, because I'm getting them all over the state of Minnesota. And in the last couple of weeks, I have visited on the phone with several of your event centers, and I can tell you I have a lot of stories that we can share, and we need to do a better job listening because they're literally on the edge of their cliff. In fact, last weekend I was up in Aiken doing some snowmobiling, went up to McGregor and Palisade and Glen, and I was visiting. Well, again, Madam Speaker, would Representative Lueck yield for a question?
Representative Lueck, will you yield to a question?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
He will yield. Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Lueck, I stopped by a local eatery, does a great job. They're right next door to a motel and a convention center. Have you had a chance, Representative Lueck, to see what the outcome and what's happening right now at the convention center there in Aiken?
Representative Lueck.
Thank you for the question, Representative Baker. And yes, in fact, ironically, just in this past week, I've talked with the owner of that event center, and actually, this family that operates that event center has been in the hospitality business in our area for many decades, and very, very successful and respected in the community. And He's frustrated, his family's frustrated, his employees are frustrated. Uh, and both of us are Aiken High School graduates. I'm a few years earlier than you, but as you remember, that event center didn't exist there when you graduated from high school. It's relatively new and, been there about 15, 16 years. And there was real concern in the community. And this is a 400-person capacity, full-service event center in a little community like Aiken, whether or not the private sector could actually pull this off and put a jewel like that into our community and make it pay. And this family did that. It's been operating, and it was touch and go at the beginning. They really had to get out there and move, and the community joined in. That's where we go for weddings, wedding receptions, family reunions, high school class reunions, employee retirements, funeral receptions, on and on. And they have built that business up so it's a good, stable part of the community. The problem is, last year, they literally got clobbered because they were shut down hard. They couldn't bring in their employees. They couldn't literally do any events. And just as they were looking like they were really got things stabilized and the financial situation looked really good, they got hit last year, literally devastating. And I'm not going to get into any numbers, but literally had to leave all their employees home. Couldn't do anything. And we understand, what happened. That's history. Here's the problem, though. Looking forward, and these business folks, this particular individual, they plan for success every day. And in their world, they're looking out at this summer and this fall. And just giving an example, wedding receptions. Typically, they're going to do 15 or 20 of them a year. They've got 2 maybes right now they're looking at for this entire year, all the way to into next fall. That's devastating. That puts the ability of that community business at risk of being able to continue on. And like you say, they bootstrapped this up within the community and made it work. And we cannot afford to see those kind of things disappear from our small communities out in rural Minnesota. And they're not asking for much. Let me go back. 400-person capacity, new. They've got the ability to sit 400 people under normal circumstances like a giant restaurant. They can provide that service. So they're not asking for much. They're asking for things like, can't we go to 50% capacity like the restaurants in that event center for certain functions? For example, simply serving a meal for a reception. They're willing to bite the bullet. Families like to spend an evening together. If that means they got to close up shop at 11 o'clock at night, no problem. They're willing to work with this. But they're asking simply to survive. They work in a world that goes out there months and months. Right now, under normal years, you couldn't get a Friday or Saturday night event in that event center because they're already booked up. This year, it's a blank sheet of paper for all of 2021. So, colleagues, we have got to get in the game here. I think Representative Baker has got absolutely got a bill here that should work. We have to help these businesses plan for success. And that means helping and giving the governor some assistance and some real direction on planning for success. We need to be laying out some rational parameters with some timelines, some metrics, so that this business can at least answer some simple questions to their customers on, look, here's the picture. I can support this size of an event. Recognize that things can happen. It's just like if it rains on the 4th of July, you're probably going to have your picnic inside. There are things that we know we can't control, but we have got to step in here as legislators with responsibilities to our districts to help these businesses and help the governor get on the right track. So again, I just want to thank you, Representative Baker, and that's just one. I've got a number of event centers, some of them private owned, some of them owned by the community, that are in the same boat. They got to pay their bills. Their employees are asking, you know, do I got to go find something else? I really want to work all summer at the event center. And they can't answer that question right now. So again, thank you much, and I would yield the floor back, and let's move this thing forward. And again, and this is in the spirit of helping the governor. I mean, these folks know what they're doing, and they can do this safely. So, and I yield back, but again, I can't thank you so much. And colleagues, let's jump in and help Representative Baker here meet the requirements of our districts. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Luke, for that. I know that right now the current level of a social event members is 50. I know, talking to a lot of members, a lot of the event center managers and planners, they can't open the doors for 50 people. They can't do it profitably. As soon as you turn the lights on, as soon as you do certain things, it all goes backwards even faster than not having it. So what my bill shows, as you look at the graphic a little bit more, it shows to get us up to about 150 people, 50% capacity, giving it the space parameters that we all know are important. It also allows offices to start allowing employees to come back to the office if the employer wants them to do that. Right now, Minnesota has extremely rigid rules when it pertains to non-essential office workers. You must stay home because the governor said you had to. And right now, with our numbers as low as they are, now is the time to start loosening up, and we've got to start living in Minnesota. And it takes time. We can't just start tomorrow. I know that. This bill reflects that. I have listened to every single one of our emergency orders debates on the House floor. I'm tired of it. I'm trying to give you a plan that you can actually take that is with so much common sense. Ramp-offs. There's got to be a certain number of vaccinations by a certain date. I have 1 million on here after 30 days of signing the bill. That was 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. We already passed by that number. We got to change this. But I'm recognizing we have to do it with health metrics in place. And I got a lot of that information from meeting with the Department of Health. I have been working hard on building this bill with business associations that represent thousands and thousands of businesses that they listen to, and there's not a single one out there that doesn't want to do it right. I want to thank the Minnesota Business Licensed Beverage Association, Minnesota Craft Brewers Association Guild, Minnesota Chamber, Minnesota retailers, and I especially want to put a shout out to my friends at the Hospitality Minnesota that have been a voice for our industry like I've never seen. They should win an award for fighting on every level that they can, because they have been at the governor's roundtable meetings and all these things that have been going on every single week to really straightly communicate with the office of the governor to say what's working and what's not. And they are not feeling heard. I will tell you that. It is frustrating. So I know what this is like. I have one other comment that I want to have is that actually will Chair Pelowski yield to a question, Madam Speaker?
Representative Pelowski, will you yield to a question?
Yes, I'll yield.
He will yield. Representative Baker.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. And we've talked a lot about my bill, and I want to thank you for giving me time in front of your committee. I know you are given full authority, according to Leader Winkler, that you can move bills, you can move them off, you can get them built. And you have said before, you like a lot of concepts about my bill. Mr. Chair, you have a hearing coming up tomorrow. I am offering you today to use my bill in any way that you have to. If it has to be used as a full amendment to some other bill that you want to stamp and take it as a chair, lead, or whatever you want to do. I am standing here telling you, use my bill as an amendment to your bill, because my bill has been vetted with so many people. It is not perfect, and let's keep working on this. But Mr. Chairman, can I get your commitment that we can have a good hearing tomorrow, that you'll get this out of the committee, at least to the next step, which I'm hoping is the House floor next Thursday, and we can put amendments on the floor. But Representative Pelowski, do you understand the concept of this urgency?
The member from Winona, Representative Pelowski.
Madam Speaker, Representative Baker, I'm going to repeat what I said on Monday when you made the motion to send your bill to the Rules Committee and then down to the subcommittee. We will be having a hearing tomorrow, which will include your bill. And we are going to be looking at how we can structure a bill, including elements of your bill or your entire bill, that can be passed out of the subcommittee to the Rules Committee. So Representative Baker, I've had text messages with you, phone conversations with you. I know that Representative Sandstead, we now are in possession of her bills. We're looking at one of her bills as the primary bill that will be used to incorporate your bills and others that we have heard in committee. So Representative Baker, tomorrow, with that agenda in mind, we will be working on your bill. I don't anticipate passing anything tomorrow because we won't have a structured bill to pass. I look forward to a week from tomorrow when hopefully we'll have a bill in a structure that we can pass to the Rules Committee, and then we'll see what happens from the Rules Committee.
Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Chair Pelowski, yeah, I've heard that. I expected the same answer, and another week will go by, and I'm really getting frustrated. Our event centers can't make it much longer, and the longer we wait, the worse it is, the deeper the hole, the more weddings that leave the state of Minnesota or go down the road to the barn. It isn't working any longer. And if Madam Speaker, if Representative Pelowski will yield for another couple questions, please.
Representative Pelowski, will you yield to an additional question?
Yes.
He will yield. Representative Baker.
Madam Speaker, Representative Pelowski, you've got event centers in your area. I know that when we went down to Winona, your beautiful city, with the mini session, it was an amazing place. The History Center has a wonderful meeting space. Again, many of the calls around here, have you had a chance to visit with any of your event centers, Representative Pelowski, to ask them what their update looks like these days and what it looks like this summer?
Representative
Madam
Pelowski.
Speaker, Representative Baker, I had a phone conversation with the former director of the Winona County Historical Society, which is where we had our dinner the first night, that Wednesday evening in October 2nd of 2019. And we had a very good conversation, and he knows the stresses. I know the stresses. He also knows the extent of the problem that we face, a pandemic that comes once every 100 years. You have been part of the committee in the sense that you sat in. The health metrics, I would say that you have lauded in your bill, and I laud you for putting them in. We discussed at least 2 committee hearings, and the work that was done outside of the committee with Representative Sandstead, Representative Liziger, Representative Pinto, I think in particular, was the one that was pushing for the move from dates to health metrics, which you've incorporated. Took us about 2, maybe 3 hearings to fully understand and comprehend. So the answer to your question is yes, I had a conversation today. And that conversation was, we have to be careful and we have to move with a full understanding of what we're going to do.
Representative Baker.
And Madam Speaker, if you would continue to yield.
He will yield. Representative Baker.
Again, Representative Pelowski, I had a chance to visit with a really nice person at the Visions Event Center. I assume you know who they are. I called up and was visiting with Carrie earlier, and she just was so grateful that I gave her a phone call to ask her just about what is it like. And I guess I didn't realize how desperate she is. She has part of the restaurant, and they have people that they had to lay off because they don't have enough business to have a salesperson now in the event center. But she was just grateful to have someone to talk to about this. And I'm not trying to pick on Chair Pelowski members. What I'm asking all members to do here, go home and talk to an event center this weekend. Go figure out what's going on, because in Winona, Minnesota, the home of one of the most bipartisan guys in this place that I truly value his leadership. I really know he cares about these businesses, and I'm sure he's been told this, but according to this operator, 97% of their business last year was lost in 2020. They've only got a few smatterings of business on the events this year. And she's crazy angry because she says it's not fair. People are leaving in droves to Wisconsin, just a few miles away, where they have none of these restrictions. And again, members, if they're going there, time and time again, they're coming back. We're not seeing a major spread on the borders. We're not seeing it. We're getting there. The immunizations are taking hold. Our citizens are being safer. Our businesses are doing a great job managing their space. And we are penalizing these folks because they're in the state of Minnesota and we have a governor that will not listen to us. This is a time when we've got to do something different. I'm going to continue to come on the House floor and rant and rave and kick and scream until we get something out of this body, because my bill, or a bill, if someone else is going to carry a bill that looks like my bill, is going to get a super quick delivery to the Senate floor so we can get this thing to the governor's desk. And if he doesn't like it, he can veto it. This is not taking away any emergency orders. Nothing. If we have a spike, members, he just says, well, sorry, I got this, I got to take it back. But this is a gentleman's agreement to say I'm willing to work with the legislature when it comes to reopening our businesses. And I just can't emphasize enough, members, that we are in our 8th week and we have done nothing for our event centers. We could have more stories. I'm not going to take the time. Madam Speaker, I'm going to withdraw the motion to suspend the rules. I know where this is going to go again. But next week it changes, members, and I'm asking you, go home and talk to these people. Go home and talk to your event centers. It's really serious. They don't know what to tell workers. They don't know what to tell them when they're looking for summer work right now. I don't know what to tell you. If we do our plan here, we can tell these folks, hey, Susie, you want to work this year for our server or as a bartender? It looks like if everything goes well, we might be able to do weddings in the middle of May. And it gives them something to talk about. Representative Carlson is working on a bill to get hospitality workers back to work. Thank you for carrying that bill. Doesn't do any good if we don't get them open. And I need your support on this kind of bill. And I hope I get it someday. But you got to fight your side to get it open, because you've got a good bill that gets workers back to work. So members, and especially to the Committee on Reform, you're meeting tomorrow. I hope you do some really good work. I hope you dive in deep. I hope you fight for the businesses and fight for what they need, because our event centers and our restaurants, they need you, and we're the only thing stopping us from this right now. So with that, Madam Speaker, I yield, and thank you for your time.
Representative Baker, did you want to withdraw your motion at this time?
Madam Speaker, I will do that. Yes, thank you.
Representative Baker has withdrawn his motion.